Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to round out the cover crop experiment series of videos. You can see we are out here on Charles' 11 acres and we have quite a bit of weed pressure. As you can see, Charles and I are both going to talk in this video. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him now.
This is my 11 acres here. This is conventional. We use spray, but it's non-GMO soybeans. We grew these on a contract with Benson Hill for a premium. These are an emerge variety. I don't remember the number. We have it wrote down back at home. But what happened with this field is we were doing no-till. I'm going to give you a brief history of this field. 2 years ago, I planted wheat. Harvested the wheat, it was wet out. The combine, the wheat was standing good, but the combine was actually driving through some water in its low areas, getting the wheat on. It then dried out, we took the straw off, and we planted buckwheat, but I disked it wet. And then I started thinking about more no-till and keeping the soil covered. And the second year, I let it rest. I can do that. I planted some cover crops. They weren't very good at establishment. I kept it mowed so they didn't go to seed on the weeds, but it has a lot of low-lying areas in this field. So I let it rest. During the pandemic, I just kept it mowed. Let the planted cover crops, let them come up. What was successful stayed. We mowed what wasn't. And then we came to the spring of 2021. And we signed up, me and William, with Benson Hill on a contract. They pay very well, $250. And you do have to hold the beans in your bin if you're able to do that. They pay $250 over Chicago Board of Trade. And you have until like January 1 to sell them to them. And then it's $250 on and above that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the beans then. I had this field sprayed, and Matador was one of them. It was sprayed before planting because we were going to no-till. We were going to go in. I had rye out here. Let me back up. I had rye planted that fall after it sat idle. I planted rye, but I didn't get a good stand. That was my problem. That's where the problem started. I had the rye planted the fall of 2020. It came up, but it wasn't very good. But I still wanted to try no-till. So we sprayed it with Matador, and I could get the list and some other before we planted. And then we couldn't get in for 30 days. So by the time I got in here to no-till this, it was getting later and later, and I got impatient. I should have had it sprayed again. Or I should have worked it up and did a regular worked up planting of soybeans and resprayed. Because my first spray had ran out. Then the first spray had ran out. I no-tilled the beans in here. I thought they would get ahead of the weeds. They really did not. And we came in 23 days later because it's non-GMO, and we sprayed then. But by then, your water hemp was already 4 or 5 inches, and you're not going to get it. There's nothing in non-GMO spray that you can get this water hemp under control. The beans are pretty good. It's going to be interesting to see what they yield. We'll report back to you on that. We sprayed it at 23 days later, and this is what we've got. They're getting ready to turn. It's thicker in places, and there's still low spots, but there's a couple interesting things that I want to show you, and I can't answer why it's like this, but you will find it on the boundaries of the field. This is me and Williams learning about no-till. Am I going to go completely no-till? Probably not, because we already worked up 1 8-acre patch and planted oats, as you've seen in the other videos. But I do like the concept, and I'm going to use it more and more. I want to try to keep the ground covered, capture carbon, but when you till, you're releasing carbon, so it's kind of a give and take. I'm probably this fall, if the weather's with me, going to till this up and plant another cover crop, either barley, rye, or triticale, and then kill it because we're going to corn next year in the spring. Kill that in the spring. That's my hope. I don't know if that's going to work out or not, but that's the plan, and more experimenting. So that's kind of the history of this field. I hope that all makes sense. I'm not an expert at this, but you can see we got a lot of water hemp. I was hoping to not be this bad. Williams is a success, and we're going to go talk about that next, but if there's a couple other things I got to show you on this field.
Charles and I are walking back to the gator, and he decided to pull up a soybean plant to let you look at it.
So this is what we've got. They're almost up to my waist. I would say the weed pressure is definitely going to have affected the yield. I think Williams 5 acres will out yield me, but we're going to see. But this is what we got. It helps if you get that 250 premium, and luckily me and William, this is not our main income, so we can experiment and do these things and see how it works, because we want to try to protect our soil.
We're driving down to the south side of the field now, and we're going to look along Charlie's boundary.
This is what I want to show you. I can't explain it. I've talked to other people about it. In 2020, because I wasn't putting a crop out here, I could drive around and I noticed the edges of the field were higher from all the disking, plowing over the years. So we took a blade and we brought a lot of that soil from the edge back out here. And then winter came and we just left it kind of in a pile all the way along here. So before I could no-till, I had to come out here with a box blade and scrape all that ridge up that we made from the edge of the field over here. It was about right in the middle here. And I took it out and would level it out in the low places. I could see, I had drowned it out places from the winter, so I could see where the low places were, and I deposited that dirt. In the meantime, the box blade had scraped right along here. You could really see it when it was green. I wish I'd have got out here sooner, but right about in there, right about in there, looking in the camera, you could see a line as if it was perfect, weed-free. All the water hemp was on that side of the line. The line's about right in there. And all the way the length of this field, this edge, for like 10 feet out, was water hemp free. And I had taken that blade and scraped this and moved all that dirt to the low spots that we had taken out of the corner, scraped this, and it was smooth. It was hard and smooth, and I no-tilled right into it. And the edge, and the same way with all the way over to the east edge, we'll go over there, with the same way on the east edge. Anywhere I scraped with that box blade, the excess dirt that we had brought from the edges of the field back into the field was clean. I found that very interesting. I can't explain it. It'd be nice to see what you say in the comments. But it was water hemp free the first 10 feet after that scraping on the south side and the east side. So that's what I found interesting in doing this, and I hope you find it interesting.
Going to do a slow pan so you guys can see the future crop conditions and the weed pressure we have. It's fairly consistent throughout the entire field. I don't think our New Holland combine will struggle too much, and I don't believe that the yield will be affected too bad. We just wish we would have had a cleaner field.
I'm going to give more of a history of this field. To my knowledge, it has always been farmed east and west, and this has always been a low area, And in 2020, when I didn't have crops here, I could watch this. And so what I decided to start doing, we took that blade and we feathered it out to make a waterway through here. And I took that excess dirt and smoothed it out there in the field also. So I'm working on establishing a waterway. This field has a lot of low spots and drainages. The ditches are pretty shallow. If you turn around back to the road, you'll see here, and this is still wet, like we had rain last night. This is still holding water. So I found the idea is to put a waterway in to help conserve that soil from washing if we get too much rain comes to here, and hopefully the grass strips will slow the soil down. And that's what I'm working on in here. Now this is the east boundary. Now right in here is a ditch where I drug the dirt out of. Right in here, it comes right down here. This is a neighbor's field. You can see how much we battle the lowness here on that. That is all cockaburr. This has had a lot of water this summer, and a lot of beans are short and the cockaburrs are taking over. And I've got the water hemp on this side. But here's where I dug that dirt out, scraped it. You can see, let me see if I can get it. I've been pointing too high, sorry. You can kind of see a 6-foot area where I scraped that dirt away. And right in there, I think you can see it. I scraped the dirt away, put it over in the low spots, and it was clean. I should have done this when they were green, because you could see it right to the line. So this side has a ditch between us that we're trying to get back open and utilize for both of us to help us. And this is my problems over here with the failure of the cover crop to suppress the weeds in making a mat because it wasn't thick enough. And then the spray being 30 days later before planting, when I should have sprayed and was able to get in. They sprayed on a Sunday morning and we couldn't get back in for like 4 weeks. It was like 30 days later. So looking back, what should have been done, moving forward, this is what the results were. We're still going to have some beans, but we'll probably pre-screen them before going in the bin. I hope you find this informative. Let me know your theories on where the ground was scraped clean and flat, not loosened up, weed-free. Where it isn't, obviously we have weeds.
We have made it over to my 5-acre field. You can see we have quite a bit less weed pressure. We do have some water hemp in areas. We're going to show you that. We're going to go ahead and walk out into them now just to demonstrate. I wanted to do this video a little bit earlier, but weather was not permitting. You can see here, these are waist high, and the entire field looked like this, and I was very excited about it. And then we had severe thunderstorms for the past 5 to 6 days, and it has laid them over, unfortunately.
So this is what we wanted on my 11 acres, but my rye wasn't thick enough. This is the learning, and this is the same beans. We're only 2 miles apart from each other. And if William has a video, which I'm sure he'll put a link in, when he was planting this with the 750 drill, and the rye was like chest high, and this was what we were attempting to achieve. This is the rye smashed down. The beans growed up through it. Look at these. And what the beauty of this was, we did not spray this when we planted. We got out of the first spray. That is the goal, not to abandon chemicals. We're not going organic, but to use them less. We still have the tools in the toolbox, like they say, but to use less chemicals, protect the ground with this armor that I just showed you, ground armor, keep the moisture. If we would have had a dry year, this field would really be shining because of the moisture trapped by this mat of rye that is pushed down. This is just beautiful. This is a success story. And we did spray it. The 23 days later, we did spray it. But we got out of the first spray. They're on the edges where the boom of the sprayers can't get. They kind of don't like this field because it's a little small in places. We have water hemp. And that's probably where the rye was thinner too. But overall, this is a success. Talking to a man in Ohio that has no-tilled for, I think, 40 plus years, he says you have to be a little tolerant of weeds. You're not going to have a perfect no-weed field like some of these that have with the spray and the GMO beans, like your Liberties and your Roundups. I don't even know about these. These are all non-GMO. That's what we try to grow for the premium. So this, I feel, is a great success for our first time of no-tilling into standing rye. My 11 acres was not thick enough. We should have went with a different plan. But this is what we got. We wanted to show you. We're excited to see what these yield. They're up past your waist quite a bit. And that's what we have. We're giving you the bean report.
We are back out of the field now. I'm going to slowly walk so you can get a good look at the weed pressure we have. We do have some foxtail right out here on the edge, which is not really a big deal. And once we get to this corner right up here, then you will see more of the water hemp coming through, but completely manageable. I think this will finish off this corner. There's a little bit more I could show you here.
I wanted to say one other thing. This is Charles. When we did this, in the video that you see him planting these beans, we waited until the rye was in antithesis, meaning it was pollinating. So when the drill rolled over it, it smashes it and breaks it at the ground so it doesn't grow back. And we bought a crop roller, an I&A, I think, 2 years ago, have yet to have used it because the drill smashes it down. We were anticipate using it on the beans on this field and my field, but it didn't need it because the drill worked so well, the 750 John Deere drill. So you want to wait till your rye is in antithesis and then plant into it, weather permitting, of course. And this is our success. We feel this was a very good success.
This is another shot of the field to let you see the weed pressure that we did have. Charles is retrieving a specimen for you to look at. It is really fun to have this land and be able to experiment like this. Charles mentioned this isn't our primary source of income. YouTube in general definitely is not a source of income for us, but it's fun to experiment and take care of the ground and maintain the soil, try to build things up for future generations.
Here's a plant that I just pulled from Williams Field. I think it looks very good. It has a lot of pods. It's going to be interesting to see the yield. And so a few more weeks, we will let you know what they yielded.
I think with all of that being said, I would like to thank everyone for watching, coming along on the adventures. Stay tuned. We're going to combine these beans with our CR920 New Holland combine. Please leave a like, subscribe below, share the videos. That really helps the channel grow. I'd like to thank everyone for watching again, and we'll see you guys next time.